Good evening. Here it is Tuesday again, and it is our Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles study group, a lively group with some friendly people, some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet, and the more we study the course, watch, the nicer we'll become. Nicer is better, right? Anyhow, listen, you guys have any comments, anything you want to share before we get started with our study tonight? Okay. Well, the first thing on our agenda, and by the way, I thought it'd be good to have this be a standing item, is do you have any comments about what we studied this past week? And that would have been chapter 1 in the text, or anything from lessons 1 through 7 that you'd like to ask a question about or make a comment about? Okay. Well, as I mentioned before, this study goes along at a fairly fast clip. So every time I want to give you an opportunity to follow up on things you want to talk about or had a question or something like that. So as you do your study each week, just make a note of some of the things, because we will provide an opportunity to bring those things up. Does that sound okay?
I do have a question.
Yes.
On page 8.
In the text, correct?
In the text.
Let me see if I can.
It's in the second, first chapter, number 2. It's on page 8.
Is that Atonement and Miracles? Or
right before the one before that.
what
Like number
paragraph?
5.
Okay. Yes.
Where number 5, where it starts with Revelations.
Yes.
Number 5, number 2 I have.
Aren't you talking about paragraph 5?
Paragraph 5.
Yes, paragraph 5.
So it's section 2, paragraph 5, correct?
Correct, yes.
Well, why don't you read it and ask your question?
Okay. Revelations are indirectly inspired by me because I am close to the Holy Spirit and alert to the revelation readiness of my brothers. I can thus bring down to them more than they can draw down to themselves. The Holy Spirit mediates higher to lower communication, keeping the direct channel from God to you open for revelation. Revelation is not reciprocal. This is where I have my question. Revelation is not reciprocal. It proceeds from God to you, but not from you to God. So explain to me a little more of Revelation.
Well, you picked a good one to get us kicked off and started here. Any thoughts on it from any of you before I try weaving my way into this?
I have a little bit, I think I sometimes have the same, when do we know God is talking to us and when we are talking to us? Oh, my battery, hang on, my battery is running low. I forgot to plug it. And like I said, I have a hard time sometimes identifying, when is God, when is love talking? I think I told you I'm going to South Africa in a couple of weeks. and I'm a little bit worried, so is God talking to me because I'm fearful? Then I thought, well, every time I think I am fearful, then God is not talking to me. It's either love or fear.
All right, Marianne, let's hold that one. And I'm not sure these are similar questions. So let me go back to Revelation.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back about who's doing the talking, right?
Well, isn't that part of Revelation?
I don't see it directly tied to that. Maybe we can make the connection. Let's talk about it. And yes, I see how you could say it that way. There is a communication that is, it's a communication we never really left. It just got overwhelmed by distractions, by illusions, by lies. Remember, it said something, what was it? It's right on page 1. The purpose of this course to teach the meaning of love is not the purpose of this course, right? Boy, am I rusty on this, okay? It is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. Okay?
Can I
Go ahead.
just
Oh, no,
allude to the second paragraph, the very last line on the second paragraph, where there's a 7 in front of it?
wait a minute. You're in section 2, paragraph what?
2.
Oh.
Okay, revelation is intensely personal.
Right. The very
That's-
last sentence
Yes.
says revelation is literally unspeakable because it's an experience of unspeakable love. I read that and then I go back to the 5th one that I just read,
Yes.
where it says revelation is not reciprocal. It proceeds from God to you, but no, it does not come from God to you, but from you to God. If it's unspeakable love, I don't understand that.
Hold on. Read that last sentence again.
And number
The
2,
last 2, 4 and 5 sentences. Revelation is not. You there?
which one?
We're in paragraph.
Oh,
5,
revelation
7,
is not reciprocal. It proceeds from God to you, but not, no, yeah, it proceeds from God to you, but not from you to God.
Yeah, you had it reversed when you read it the first time. Does
But-
that make more sense?
No. If it's unspeakable love, why is it non-reciprocal?
Because how would you send it to God? How would you speak of it? Or my point is, you
How does God speak of it?
speak of it. The point is that God does not speak. Have you ever heard the word ineffable?
No.
Yeah.
It
Well-
means there are no words, okay? You can't express it in words. So here, let me go this route and see what you guys think, okay? What we're talking about is nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is undo. All I can do is get out of the way in order to experience something that is far beyond anything I could imagine or deal with in my little old puny human self. Being human, while it has its place, is a mistake. I'm not human. I am spirit. If I would get all of this humanness out of the way, the song of prayer or the communication or the revelation would come to me. I don't send it back because it is me. If I go to what Marianne was saying, is which voice should she listen to? Am I right, Marianne?
Well, I think, we can understand it intellectually, maybe, but to me, I've always had struggle. How do you transfer it emotionally so you know who is talking? Am I receiving love? Am I dealing with love? Am I inviting people into my life where I can practice love rather than react to them? So to me, it's like, I think we've talked about it before when I've been here. I listen to Panache Desai every day, and he basically, to me, he is the practical part of the Course in Miracles. How do we translate this intellectual part into experience? I think that's, to me, the biggest struggle.
Let
We
me
can read
start
it,
here.
understand it, and then how do we do it? How do we do it?
Let me start here. If you want a practice, I would suggest, and Noella, it's along the same lines of this truth that was being said about revelation. I'm not trying to be cute, Marianne, but be quiet. That's how you do it. Stop trying to decide and let the decision be made for you by one that has power to make decisions. See, when we try and decide things, we're trying to be in control, are we not? It's deceptive because the world teaches you that that's a good thing. But what happens is I start stressing myself out trying to figure out what's what. And that's exactly where my ego wants me to be. What do you think, Marianne? And then we'll back our way back to Noella.
Well, we can go back and forth because, again, that's my struggle I've had for ages with the Course in Miracles, understanding it, but how do you translate into living it?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And the thing that's so difficult is the way you get it into your personal life is to give up trying to control things. Do me a favor, everybody, go to lesson 135. Joan, we were there last night, weren't we? It says, if I defend myself, I am attacked. So lesson 135 is on page 252. Okay,
Okay.
everybody there?
Wait a minute.
Take your time.
Okay.
So go to paragraph 11. And Mary Ann, read that paragraph, and then we'll start bumping back up to seeing how we've answered about Revelation. But let's start here.
No, I have to laugh about the first one. A healed mind does not plan. Well, if you're German, that's all you do is plan.
If
So I have
what?
to give up my Germanness.
You're what?
I'm an
Oh,
intercultural
Germanness.
consultant.
Yes, but
As
by
an
the way,
intercultural,
you're not German either.
yes, I
You're
am.
not even
I was
really
born in Germany,
human,
so
let
I'm German.
alone German. You with me?
I said I was born in Germany and I grew up in Germany, so I'm German by birth.
And I'm proud as proud of that as you are on level 2. How many of you know we always help explain things by talking about level 1 and level 2? Kenneth Wapnick did that. Anybody know what I mean, level 1 and level 2?
And level 1 is beyond duality, where there's just one, we're all one. Level 2 is down in this world.
Yeah. Level 1 is truth or heaven, and level 2 is the illusion that we think is real.
Thank you.
It's kind of a simplified way to talk about the dual approaches that we have to master in order to facilitate Earth School. Now, my pastor puts it a slightly different way. We are both divine and human at the same time, if that's helpful.
Yes.
But you become wise when you let your divinity, which is your true level 1 nature, manage how you do things in this world, in this illusion. So, you know, I'm African American. I love that. There's a place for that here in level 2. But if I want to have the revelatory experiences that lead to my spiritual awakening, I have to remember I'm a being of level 1. I don't live here. This is not my home. But I seem to be here for a reason. In chapter 6, it says the reason that I'm here is to learn the ways of love. Why is it important for me to learn the ways of love? Well, okay, it's a new group. Somebody had a
No. Yeah, I have
Doesn't
something
it-
to say. I was just going to say that's how we're going to get back to level 1.
All right, somebody pull up Workbook Lesson 67. I want to tell you why this is important to learn or remember the ways of love. What's lesson title of that lesson?
Love created me like itself.
Yep.
So if love created me like itself, if that's true, then what am I? Everybody wants to know, what am I, right?
Love.
When?
Always. All the time.
Well, who is it that told you you could love sometime and be something else sometime? You know, Popeye, I'm all that I am. That's all that I am and all that I am. Very simple. I'm one thing. The reason I'm having a problem is because I'm trying to be something else also. I think I can love and hate. I think I can be nice to some people, but not to others. I'm a fake. If I'm love and I'm not love all the time, I got a problem. I'm a fake. So why is it important for us to learn the lessons of love? Because love is what we are. We're not bodies. We're a spirit. We're benign, benevolent spirits. And something happened that made us try and forget that. It's again in my book, it's the idea of separate heavens. You know what I mean, separate heavens?
Yes.
Oh, I'm a all-powerful being. Why don't I have my own separate heaven? And then that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
No.
Especially when you're a little crazy kid and think you can conquer God, the creator, and have your own separate heaven. The idea is ludicrous. Into eternity, where all was one, there crept a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. And look what it made. It's incredible. Unfortunately, it's an incredible mess. The world teaches us to be individuals, right?
Right.
Don't we pride our individualism in making choices for ourselves, right? That's a lie. I'm not an individual. I'm part of a whole. Now, the more I can relinquish those notions, the more I cannot be guided by them, the more the blockages subside, and the more the voice can come through of truth. Let's talk about that voice, Marianne. Would that voice have you do something nice and loving or not nice?
It depends.
Would that
you inter-
voice help have
how you
do
interpret it. Well, how you
Well,
interpret
well,
not
well,
nice.
well, how does it make you feel? Will
Well,
it make you feel good or anxious, or will it make you feel peaceful and loving and like you're helping someone? And will the circumstances come together for your trip, or will you see signs that this is not for me? I'm having problems making this happen. To me, these are some signs of the Holy Spirit speaking to you.
Well, but see, that's the difficulty sometimes, is it just because my fear takes over? Or is it
Yes,
a message? Or
yes.
is it, is it God talking and somehow that's a totally different meaning. That is why it's going to take you 33 hours to get there. But once you're there, it's fine. So I don't know. So I'm going, you know, I'm at peace. I've done my tours and whatever. But I'm still dreading to be on, you know, on the planes for 33 hours to get there.
Has
So
it happened before?
I've never gone there before.
No. Have you had anxiety about other trips?
But depending how far I'm going. Yeah. Well,
All right. I say, don't worry about it. Go and have a good time.
thank you.
All right. That would be my advice so far. Noella.
That's wonderful. That's what I needed.
Well, I'm sorry it took so long. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure you'll be telling us about what a good experience it was. Noella, revelation comes from God to us, and it's there all the time, but distortions keep it away. So the idea is, what would you do if there are a bunch of distortions that kept it away? What would be the solution?
Remove.
Remove the distortions.
Sure.
And that's what this is teaching us how to do. So do you see, revelations are one way. We're not talking communication so far, but revelation are insights that further this joining or taking up. Remembering God is a term you'll hear quite often. That was a long one.
It's what you have gone to, like with lesson 67, that love created me like itself. And then I go back and go, okay, revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. So if love just is, it exists. So I can understand now a little better why it comes from God and not me to God, because it just is.
Yeah, and there isn't even any distance between us. These are all earth-made ideas: time, space, limitation, death. Read lesson 68.
Let's see. Love holds no grievances.
Okay. Love holds no grievances. Do what's in front of you to do. It's not like it's at random. It's, to me, an education to teach me what I am. It is an education that will allow me to bring heaven to earth, because maybe that's what I'm here to do. Hello? Let me show you how. Now that goes to another paragraph, and I'm going to stop here, that we read. And Jesus talked about his relationship in that hierarchy of bringing revelation. He has demonstrated the way to live. Yes?
Yes.
So do you see how he can teach truly through demonstrating a property that is unspeakable, but it can be lived? It takes no note of all the earthly teachings and what's this and power and who's on top and all of that, right? He is a way shower. Have you heard him spoken of that way?
Yep,
He
yep.
demonstrated what it's like to live like love created me like itself. You with me? Shall we move on? At least from those two questions? Are there others?
I'm good.
Pardon me?
I said, I'm good.
All right. So without further ado, let's have at it with chapter 2 in the text. And on our schedule, we were to do in chapter 2, 2 sections. And then tonight, I'd also like to do lesson number 8. So let's get started and see how we do with that. Is there anyone who does not want to read? Okay. Noella, you're reader 1, Gina 2, Joan 3, Marianne 4, Frank is 5. Did I leave anyone out? Okay.
What page are we on?
We are starting in the text on page 17, Marianne.
17, okay.
Mhm. So, Noella, you ready?
Sure. Chapter 2, the separation and the atonement. 1, the origins of separation. To extend is a fundamental aspect of God, which he gave to his son. In the creation, God extended himself to his creations and imbued them with the same loving will to create. You have not only been fully created, but have also been created perfect. There is no emptiness in you. Because of your likeness to your Creator, you are creative. No child of God can lose this ability because it is inherent in what he is, but he can use it inappropriately by projecting. The inappropriate use of extension or projection occurs when you believe that some emptiness or lack exists in you, and that you can fill it with your own ideas instead of truth. This process involves the following steps. First, you believe that what God created can be changed by your own mind. Second, you believe that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or lacking. Third, you believe that you can distort the creations of God, including yourself. Fourth, you believe that you can create yourself and that the direction of your own creation is up to you. Wow.
Yeah. You think you're an individual.
Wow.
Okay, that you have a real choice in what happens. Comments?
It's my ego.
Yeah, that was the tiny mad idea of separate heavens.
Mhm.
We're not individuals.
Mhm.
So if God is in control of everything, why would he allow us to think we were individuals? How could we even think that without God's approval? God is what? Omnipotent, all power. There is no other power. So why would God allow us to think we're individuals?
It's a choice of love for us.
Precisely. Thank you, Frank. It's because of God's nature. Would love oppress you and make you do everything it wants to do? Or would he give you the ability to do it because you want to do it? What would love do?
Good
Come,
question. Use all the time.
say it again, Frank.
That's a good question for me to do all the time. What would love do here in every situation?
But do you see how it kind of screws up the works? Because it would be a lot easier to just make us do everything, right? But that would also infringe on our freedom and creativity, would it not?
Well, you can't learn if you're told how to act.
And you can't create if you can only act within certain parameters.
Right.
How come plants and trees don't reproduce by copying themselves? How does an oak tree reproduce? Well, it has these acorn things on it, right? And then they fall to the ground and the wind blows them, or animals transfer them to different spots. But you know, at acorn, there's a whole damn tree in it, right?
Right.
So why doesn't it just make a copy of itself? How come it has to go through these acorn things? Because they're all oak trees, but they each can have their own creativity, depending on where they fall, how much sunlight they get, how much rain they get. They're all oak trees, but not one of them is the same in certain aspects. But that's a good thing, because just copies would not have any creativity in them. I'll do one more and make me move on. How come A plus B equals C?
Because we were told that.
Pardon me?
We
Because
were told that.
you'd think A plus B would be AB. But notice when you join, there's a synergistic effect. That offspring will have some A and some B as far as that goes, but that offspring is a C, and it is not an exact replica of either one. It's kind of its own thing. Is that all a coincidence? Do you see what I mean about the freedom that must be there to keep the extension and creativity going? I'm only done one paragraph here. Somebody have any more comments? Question? All right, who's next? We're up
Me.
to Gina. Hey.
Yep, number 2. These related distortions represent a picture of what actually occurred in the separation, or the detour into fear. None of this existed before the separation, nor does it actually exist now. Everything God created is like him. Extension, as undertaken by God, is similar to the inner radiance that the children of the Father inherit from him. Its real source is internal. This is as true of the Son as of the Father. In this sense, the creation includes both the creation of the Son by God, and the Son's creations when his mind is healed. This requires God's endowment of the Son with free will, because all loving creation is freely given in one continuous line, in which all aspects are of the same order.
Hmm.
Mm.
I don't know about all of this. What do y'all think? Are you following this paragraph?
Yeah, I think it's another thing that's hard to grasp, that all things are equal. Nothing has more importance than another, more power than another.
Yes.
But it's not the way we're raised in this level too.
Right. Everything is endowed with equal power, but do you see the rub is they're also endowed with the freedom as to how they want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Same power, freely used. So the same power that can get you what you want can also do things that bite you in the butt. It's the same power, but you have the freedom as to where now there's something that starts to come in called wisdom. When you're this powerful, you can't just be out using it all willy-nilly, because a lot of it, like stupid stuff, like separate heavens, the power has consequences. But the issue is that the consequences that occur are illusory. Somebody tell me why. Well, let me say it. In chapter 10, we quote this one often. Chapter 10, at home in God, dreaming of exile. Do you see the fail-safe in God's system?
Mhm.
What is not love is an illusion. Do you see the safety net in letting kids be kids? I'll let you get out there and gain wisdom and sow your wild oats and use your imagination, but you're always safe at home, because anything that's not love will be an illusion, a dream, but have no reality. So you're always safe while you explore gathering the wisdom needed to use your power. You know how wise I am, I believe God might say. I know that love works. That's all I do. You crazy kids go out and try different stuff. That's fine. You're always safe. But in the end, you'll be back home because you will have learned your lesson. What do you think, Frank?
Yes, I had experience like that today.
You want to talk about it, or just saying?
All this understanding where I corrected someone and that you were defensive. I realized I could have handled it with love and handled it differently.
All right. Comments from Joan. Does it sound too crazy? At home in God, you're always safe. I'm always loving, because the only thing you can do is, if it's not loving, it can't be real. It's an illusion. You're doing it. So if it's not real, what's its purpose? To teach you what? Lesson 193, help me out.
93. Do you know all the lessons by numbers? Can you go all the way through?
Yeah, do you remember all the lessons?
No,
Oh, my God.
but enough to do what I need to do in these classes. Isn't that interesting? I don't
Wow.
have a photographic memory, but I'm pretty good at this.
All things
That's
are lessons.
193.
Seems that way.
193. All things are lessons God would have me learn.
Boy.
And Marianne, go to 194 and read that one.
Well, let me see. I have to get there first. 196, 194.
Go back. Go back. Yeah, 194.
I place the future in the hands of God.
Okay. Period. Full stop. And that's where salvation is. Because I never could control anything. Isn't that really what I was here to learn? There are no separate heavens. I am not in control. It's like my liver saying I'm in charge. But it was an attractive idea. As a matter of fact, kids, I knew you guys were going to pull a stunt like this. So go ahead. But you're safe at home while you learn your lessons and grow into a maturity. Now, you were already mature, but you started letting your crazy imagination pull you into an untenable position. The ego, strident voice arose as the ego, and God did not attempt to destroy it because God does not attack. God did not question. He merely provided the answer. Who's the answer? All right.
God, the Holy Spirit is the answer.
Pardon me?
The Holy Spirit is the answer.
Absolutely. So again, remember that revelatory hierarchy? There was God, then the Holy Spirit, then Jesus, and then us, right? So, all right, I'm losing my train of thought. Noella, you made it back, huh? Can you hear us, Noella? Oh no, I hope she's not having mic problems again. Listen, folks, I'm going kind of overboard here tonight. Why don't we settle down? Joan, are you next, right? Paragraph 3.
Paragraph 3, okay. The Garden of Eden, or the pre-separation condition, was a state of mind in which nothing was needed. When Adam listened to the lies of the serpent, all he heard was untruth. You do not have to continue to believe what is not true unless you choose to do so. All that can literally disappear in the twinkling of an eye because it is merely a misperception. What is seen in dreams seems to be very real. Yet the Bible says that a deep sleep fell upon Adam. Nowhere is there reference to his waking up. The world has not yet experienced any comprehensive reawakening or rebirth. Such a rebirth is impossible as long as you continue to project or miscreate. It still remains within you, however, to extend as God extended his spirit to you. In reality, this is your only choice because your free will was given you for your joy in creating the perfect.
What about that last sentence? In reality, this is your only choice?
The only choice is to extend or to share.
And so when it says this, it's referring to extend. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it looks like to me.
I'm good with that. Just checking. How about the rest of you? Here, how many of you know David? I believe it's David Campbell. He's very well known in studies of mythology. Okay. The Adam and Eve story, I don't know if you know, but this story is in a lot of other religions as well. But I believe that it is a symbolic story that just supports this lesson journey that we're on. If I were to make analogies to the Adam and Eve story, how many of you know what the fall is?
The what?
The fall.
The fall?
Yeah. It's like when Satan was kicked out of and we all became sinners and
Eve ate the apple.
okay, do you see the same sort of, there was something that triggered a catastrophic kind of event. But the point being made here is that that never really happened at all. It's a story. It was made up. So when we finally learn that the story was made up and return to our senses, we will continue being what we were created to be. He says, in reality, this is your only choice because your free will was given you for your joy in creating the perfect, not stupid stuff. That's my take on it, Joan. Questions, comments? I'm looking at faces and I'm not sure. Do y'all know what to say, or you thoroughly see? I can tell when headaches are coming on. I don't want to do. Noella, can you hear us? All right, you know you're muted, right? Okay, we'll check into that. All right, let's keep reading and see if we can make this more cohesive. By the way, you do notice that this whole text is theory, but you're also noticing how abstract it seems in the first chapters. You've done this course before. It starts to make a little more common sense as we get into some of the subsequent chapters. At any rate, we're on paragraph 4. Mary Ann, would you like to read next, please?
All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misperception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. Of course, you neither can nor have been able to do that. He is the real basis for your escape from fear. The escape is brought about by your own acceptance of the atonement, which enables you to realize that your errors never really occurred. Only after the deep sleep fell upon Adam could he experience nightmares. If a light is suddenly turned on while someone is dreaming a fearful dream, he may initially interpret the light itself as part of his dream and be afraid of it. However, when he awakens, the light is correctly perceived as the release from the dream, which is then no longer accorded reality. This release does not depend on illusions. The knowledge that illuminates not only sets you free, but also shows you clearly that you are free.
Somebody help me understand it. I'm just fooling. I kind of understand it, but somebody say something. All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misperception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. Of course, you neither can nor have been able to do this. Here is the real basis for your escape from fear. What's the escape? How do you do it?
By the acceptance of the atonement.
And what is the
Correction of
atonement?
Errors.
The corrections of errors in your thinking. Y'all with me?
Mhm.
You are not an individual. You are not more than one thing. You are one thing. What is that? Starts with an L.
Love.
When?
All the time.
How often? Okay. That is your escape from fear. You brought this on yourself as a species, if you will, right? By thinking that you were different and that there was some competition for control. You never had control. You never will have control. And if you want to get out of this dilemma, it's a mental activity of stop your errors in thinking, because your thoughts create your quote unquote reality. Stop trying to control the universe. Stop trying to usurp the power of the creator. You never have and never will be able to do this. Looking at what I have as far as tools and things to do it with, I'd have to be insane to even try. But you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And our spiritual path is bringing us more and more to this understanding that if I want my life to be all it can be, I have to turn it over. I have to let go. Have you heard this before?
Let go, let God.
It's not like it's new. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, merrily. Okay, don't be, consider the lilies of the field. They do not work nor toil, right? You've heard this?
Yes.
So why do you think you have to do something? Isn't there a section in the text called I need do nothing? Anybody know that one?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a section like the one we just read that still says a healed mind does not plan, it carries out plans from a wisdom that is not its own?
Mhm.
Aren't these passages saying the same thing? That's where the problem
You're not quick learners.
Yeah, and do you see why he repeats these things in different ways until the light goes on that I'm telling you the same thing? It's just in different forms. I've got to stop trying to be in control. Other comments? We should move on. Okay. I'm showing we're up to Frank, right? For paragraph 5.
Okay. Whatever lies you may believe are of no concern to the miracle, which can heal any of them with equal ease. It makes no distinction among misperceptions. Its sole concern is to distinguish between truth on the one hand and error on the other. Some miracles may seem to be of greater magnitude than others, but remember the first principle in this course. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. In reality, you are perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love. These can be from yourself, and others from yourself to others, or from others to you. Peace is an attribute in you. You cannot find it outside. Illness is some form of external searching. Health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without and capable, through your acceptance of miracles, of correcting the conditions proceeding from lack of love in others.
So any comments on paragraph 5? So I think we're getting out of this section with a pretty good understanding of the origins of the separation was not going along with the plan. I mean, wasn't that the first split was between Adam not following instructions, or between God's kids and having this tiny mad idea that they could make their own heavens and be in control themselves? Isn't that kind of mythology related to the idea of where this separation thing came from? But I would just add that an omnipotent creator would know that his kids would have a tiny mad idea. How could he not if he knows everything? As a matter of fact, what if the tiny mad idea was God's idea in the first place? Have you heard the story of the prodigal son?
Oh, yes.
And weren't you surprised that when you first heard this story and the young man goes to his father and says, give me my inheritance. I think my happiness lies in the faraway land. And his father didn't even try and stop him. Did that strike you as odd?
Did then.
I say it's the reason Dad didn't try and stop him was because it was Dad's idea in the first place. Now, the sojourn the young man went to that faraway land, it didn't turn out so well, did it? So he ended up being forced to come back home to his father, right? And he thought his father was gonna be mad at him, but instead, to the kid's surprise, his father gave him a big hug and put on a feast, right? The son thought he had done something wrong. But when he came home, and his father acted like he had done something great. What had the son done? He learned something, didn't he? Yes,
Wisdom.
no?
Yes,
Wasn't there a lesson involved? Yes.
all the time.
And so what did Dorothy say at the end of The Wizard of Oz when she had learned her lesson? What did she learn?
There's no place like home.
Isn't that what the prodigal learned?
Yes.
Are we the prodigals?
Yes.
We're still looking for home.
Okay.
Mm.
And so it may seem to be a difficult journey, but I maintain it's an academic activity, it's a teaching situation. So if you understand that what you used to call problems are lessons, will they have value to you if they're lessons?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They didn't have value when you thought they were problems. The problem was in your thinking.
Yeah.
There is no problem, there are only lessons. There is no failures, there are only something we need to learn.
And we've heard this wisdom from all sorts of things, right? But yeah, it's like the truth is all around us, and we're learning for one day our eyes to be open and to give up trying to make this into something different than what it is. It is God's plan of salvation, God, or whatever you want to call this thing that runs things. Now, we don't know what to call it, but undeniably, there's something in charge. My only choice and commitment now is to let it be in charge and hope it's loving, like everybody says. If not, what the hell can I do about it? Is that keeping it real for you?
Sure.
So, A Course in Miracles is a very plausible explanation of what's going on. And it really seems to help me. It's changed how I see things. And seeing things differently has really brought a lot more peace and joy and happiness into my life. Not that all the circumstances are different, it's more how I look at them now that brings me more peace, you see? And so, to that extent, I've been doing this stuff over 20 years, not because it's from some great book or something, but because it actually works for me, or I wouldn't be doing it. The more I let go, the better my life becomes. Comments?
Jim, this tiny bad idea. You say God knew about that.
Yes,
Did God plant it?
yes, you could say that. See, if I gave you complete freedom, what limits are there on what you think is real?
There would be no limits then.
So if I'm a wise parent, I got to immediately start trying to help you out. You see, you think that'd be great to be all powerful, right? But love wouldn't let you be all powerful by being all stupid, by hurting yourself. And yet I can't stop your power, right? To me, I got to come up with something creative. This sounds like a plan. Let's let them explore all their craziness and let them be free to do it. But I'll keep them in a safe environment here at home, and I'll let them do it in a dream state, a hallucination, a simulation, an illusion, a dream, a very teaching dream. So we're good. We're at home in God, having this educational dream. So don't get too excited. Just be here and learn all you can now that you know what it is. Your first question, what am I? What's our second question?
Why am I?
Why am I
here?
here? Yeah,
All right, this book is answering those questions, is it not?
yeah.
So this is the sense that I'm making out of God's plan of salvation. When you understand what this plan is, I think you can carry it into your day-to-day life and see it all around you instead of what you used to see outside. We now see this as a learning plane. And I say in the book, not only have we been provided with the classroom, but we're also given the classroom teacher. What's the name of our teacher again?
Holy Spirit.
All right. Now, maybe it sounds far-fetched, but this is what I've gotten out of the course in my experience with it. Okay. All right. Are we going at a good pace, or you wish we'd speed things up or slow things down?
Like the way it's rolling.
All right. Well, listen, if it's all right, I'm gonna not do Roman 3, the atonement as a defense, but rather go over to our lesson. That is lesson 8 on page 13 in the workbook for students. Is everyone there?
No,
Well, I will wait on you, sir.
is that lesson 18?
No, lesson 8
Or lesson 8?
on page 13.
Okay.
Is my speaker working now?
Yes, you're
Oh,
back
good.
with us. Good deal.
I'll
Hang
tell
in
you,
there.
that was fun.
Marianne, are you there? Page 13?
Almost
Okay.
5, 8, I got it.
I'm the reader. Lesson 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. The idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. I'm sorry, this idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. No one really sees anything. He sees only his thoughts projected outward. The mind's preoccupation with the past is the cause of the misconception about time from which your seeing suffers. Your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is. It therefore cannot understand time and cannot, in fact, understand anything. Comments on that paragraph?
Well, I always say if you start reacting to something, it usually has very little to do with the present. It usually reminds you of something from the past that you have not been aware of or in conflict with too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Anyone else?
Well, the experience I related earlier, my misunderstanding with one of the workers here,
Yes.
and I was correcting, and I didn't need to correct her. I was wrong. I was dwelling on the past. I think I want to apologize. I don't need to. It's done.
What doesn't it say my mind is never seeing what I'm seeing are my thoughts projected outward?
Okay?
Pretty much that's what you're saying.
So what would happen if I stopped thinking?
It's the
You
job
just
of the
are.
mind to think.
Pardon me?
It's the job of the mind to think. It continuously thinks.
Does it continuously?
Well, the sentence that says your mind cannot grasp the present, it's because when we're in the present, we haven't been there. We can't go from experience, we just are. So for the mind to grasp what it doesn't already know or understand, it can't. You just are.
So is there any way to achieve clarity? Like,
Clarity when?
well, if all I'm seeing are my thoughts projected outward, how can I ever see clearly? And I agree, you said it does seem to say that the mind can't stop thinking. And yet, what is the purpose of meditation?
To go within, to
You can quiet the mind.
not let the mind control.
To quiet the mind, to slow it down. And in the vernacular of this paragraph, if we're able to slow the mind and this thinking process down, and maybe even stop it, even if for an instant or so, what does that do for seeing clearly? And moreover, how does that help us with revelation, Noella?
I knew it would come back to me at some point about Revelation.
All
No,
right.
but I
Yes.
think I think it's the awareness, because I notice my mind is usually constantly someplace else.
Yes.
So I catch myself again and say, what's the present? Even listening to you, my mind is going someplace
Yeah.
else or whatever.
Yeah.
It's constantly catching yourself. You're not in the present moment.
And to me, meditation is the practice of slowing down thinking. I've heard some meditators say it's like, think of it like you have this cage full of bees and they're all buzzing and buzzing and buzzing. And you're practicing getting them to be quiet, to get it as quiet as you can. Why? What would happen if you could stop these thoughts?
You're in the present moment.
Be
And
peaceful.
okay, and what are some of the things that are in the present moment that are in peace? What are some of the things that, spiritually speaking, would you be able to communicate? Would you be able to commune with a higher power? Would you be able to access a source of true thinking? If I could stop all of this chitter chatter that's always in buzzing and, oh God, make it stop, right? Because all they're going to project is your experiences in the past and your interpretation and what you think reality looks like based on your past thinking.
That's true.
But it's always been wrong. So how can you use it to go forward? What is that, a reliable guide to keep doing the same thinking over and over and hoping it produces a different result, and you're just regurgitating basically the same projections in how you see the world? So if I can slow that down, maybe there's room to see truly. Can we finish this reading part at least, if not the meditation period we usually do? If
I like
that's,
to,
yes,
I
go ahead.
usually like to get started, I mean, at 7:30, so you go ahead, I just disappear.
You got to, okay, all right, we'll understand, thank you. So we'll pick up here with Noella on paragraph 2.
The one holy true thought one can hold about the past is that it's not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or in participating in the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this, because it is not really thinking about anything.
Yeah, let's keep going. Dina, paragraph 3.
Yeah, the purpose of the exercises for today is to begin to train your mind to recognize when it is not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy your mind, the truth is blocked. Recognizing that your mind has been merely blank, rather than believing that it is filled with real ideas, is the first step in opening the way to vision.
Thank you. Joan?
The exercises for today should be done with eyes closed. This is because you actually cannot see anything, and it is easier to recognize that no matter how vividly you may picture a thought, you are not seeing anything. With as little investment as possible, search your mind for the usual minute or so, rarely noting the thoughts you find there. Name each one by the central figure or theme it contains, and pass on to the next. Introduce the practice period by saying, I seem to be thinking about whatever.
Yes. And Mary Ann, paragraph 5, before you have to.
I have no idea where we are.
We're on page 13 in the workbook, paragraph 5. Are you going to be able to stay with us to read it?
Whatever is true eternal.
No, it starts, then name each of your thoughts specifically. We're on lesson 8 in the workbook for students. Paragraph, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
page 13.
go ahead, because I'm totally lost now. I'm totally lost where you are, so go ahead.
All right. Frank, you see it?
Yes,
Would you read,
yes,
please?
then name each your thoughts specifically. For example, I seem to be thinking about name of a person aloud, or name of an object aloud, or name of an emotion, and so on, including at the end of the mind searching period with, but my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts.
And I'll do the last one here. 6, this can be done 4 or 5 times during the day, unless you find it irritates you. If you find it trying, 3 or 4 times is sufficient. You might find it helpful, however, to include your irritation or any emotion that the idea for it today may introduce in the mind searching itself. I think we're being introduced to the idea to stop thinking. Now, it will have its place. In level 2, it'll help you get to an appointment. It'll help you walk down the street without hitting a tree. It'll help you from walking into a den of snakes down here in level 1. So don't get me wrong, it has some application here in the illusion. Okay, it's a survival skill, if you will. But that is not real thinking. So now we're asking, well, what is real thinking? What are real thoughts? And that's what Jesus is going to start to talk to us about, right?
Yeah.
My mind holds only the thoughts I think with God. That's in a review lesson. Anyhow, thank you for your time tonight. Are you gonna pay me or what? Okay. All right. Listen, are there any final remarks, or everybody good?
This was excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Good job.
Very helpful.
Good job.
All right. In the new spirituality, if you ain't smiling, it's not spiritual. The Son of God is sinless. It's all a dream, but a dream with a purpose. Embrace the dream. The dream itself is nothing by definition, but the wisdom to be gained is important to you because you keep wanting to know what you are. What am I? What am I? What? I am love. I need to act that way, and all my problems will get solved. You ready, Joni?
Okay.
All right. Hey, Joe.
The
I
light
was
of
thinking,
God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I am the light of God.
I am the light of God.
Word of God.
I am the love of God.
I
I
am the
am
love
the
of God.
love of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the
am the
power
power
of God.
God.
I am the presence of God.
I
am
am the
The
presence
presence
of
of
God.
God.
Wherever God is, I am,
Wherever
Wherever
God
God
is,
is, I
I
am.
am.
and all is
As
well.
well.
And all is well.
There is
alone.
nothing to fear, there is only love.
There is nothing.
And to fear, there is only love.
Love.
Thank goodness this crazy world isn't real. If it were, there would
Goodbye.
be no hope, would there? Can you see us working ourselves out of this mess?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Thank goodness we're at home in God, dreaming and getting wiser in a safe environment. All right.
Goodbye.
I love you. Hey, when do you head on your big trip, Marianne?
The end of March. March. End of January. In a couple of weeks.
All right. So we made our decision on that, right? You can
Well, I'm
always
going.
blame me.
I'm going. I'm going right now, and
All right. Embrace it. You've decided. Take it
I'm
on.
going.
Okay.
I'm
I
going
know
to
you
be-
can handle
put
it. All
30
right.
hours on in the air. I mean, on the road. Whatever. Okay.
All right. Peace
Bye-bye.
and love to you, Marianne, to all my brothers and sisters, and I'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys next time, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Thanks,
much.
Jim.
Jim, I won't be here next week.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna be in Buffalo.
Oh, is there some kind of ball game or something?
Oh, yeah, the Bills are playing Kansas City.
Oh,
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm into the playoffs too, and you know the Lions are in contention this year, so
Wouldn't it be wonderful to see the Lions play Buffalo?
yes.
hey, this may be the magical year. Take care,
Oh,
my friends, and I'll
that'd be
see you in
awesome.
a couple of weeks, Noella. Good
All
night,
right.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.